I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do.
Back for part 2 of the rant, first day of May, and that means that Wednesday we go to Canterbury for the first time since February the 24th.
Yeah, I think I'm nearly 3 months.
More than 2 months, like nearly 10 weeks. So rail on the true, a bit of rain. We know what we're looking for, don't we, Gord?
We do indeed, mate. We do indeed. I've just been having a chat to the boys off camera there about some, because the barriers are out, guys. The barriers are out.
What does that mean? The barriers are out.
And the riders will be out now. So
I'm assuming it's going to be fenced. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's remarkable because once upon a time, Glenn, we went to racetracks and there'd been a little bit of rain. The rail goes back in the tree. You go, well, fucking, the inside will be quicksand here. And Lindsay Murphy redesigns Canterbury and personally inspects every single frickin' truckload of soil that goes in there. Ag pipes the buggery out of the track, and the best draining part of the track is the inside.
Anyway, there it is.
By the way, as I was saying to everybody, get ready for when these first prices come out, guys, because there's a chance there's some mistakes.
Anyway, Gord will identify which.
So the prices come out wrong in the next half an hour, but they don't bet NBLs till the day of. Gord, how do you get on?
You can get on with Sportsbet and Tab.
What, to win 2 or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do 2 lots of 2. You're on for 4,000. That's great.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not great. Yeah. I'm just saying how do
He's asking you're asking how it works.
I feel like there's 50 blokes at home now, and you're all behind the starting line, and boom, let's go. Like it just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem.
Oh, you're saying that you've been handicapped by 20 lengths because you're betting 10 minutes before jump, so to speak.
Obviously, you guys you're securing better prices. I'm sure sometimes you can't be geniuses. You're making mistakes too.
Sure.
Yeah. And I'm just saying. I just I don't know how you guys get on. Like, you get on to win 2, but do everyone get on to win 2?
No, well, you've got to be the quickest.
So you got to be the first.
But I mean, a lot of the time, something will go up 8, and I'd be willing to take $3.50. So the first guy that gets the 8s, let's say I'm on at 7.
Okay, so let's say you're the first guy that gets the 8s.
Yep.
Do you take the 6s?
You can't with the same account. You can with another account. See?
Yeah.
Not like those old days, Glenn, where you just kept going back to you'd go down the rails and you'd go back up the rails and you'd go down the rails, back in your heyday.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Interesting article that I think Josh Nelms might have tweeted to us. It's from the Financial Times, and it's an article about American racing, so obviously it's just a little bit behind the times, but interesting because someone's actually done a long-form article on what's happening to betting over there in the mostly all parimutuel landscape that it is. So I'll start out by showing you this little graph. Now there's a major syndicate that operates over there called the Elite Club, and this is a survey of California turnover from between 2007 and 2021, and the blue bit is the amount wagered of the total pool by the syndicate in question. That's the Elite Club, Elite Turf Club, which is based in Curacao. So they're not paying any tax. Anyway, that's just an illustration of the percentage of the pool that, in this particular example, a syndicate is betting. So that's a parimutuel pool there, Glenn. So
wow,
in 2021, it's holding 1.8 billion, and
they're betting nearly $500 million.
Yeah, they're betting a lot of that pool. So
so what is it? Kickback Central? What's the story?
It is obviously Kickback Central. So I'll read you a bit from the article.
No, those graphs make no sense to me. Like, where's their per?
Yeah, where is their per? That's very interesting, isn't it?
Because I'm assuming some of the people in blue are backing their horses as well. You know what I mean?
Like you're saying they're cannibalising the pool. Okay, they're eating themselves. Firstly, the company the syndicate that's betting there also owns the racetrack. So there's no middleman, apparently. They've organised their own rebates by actually owning the racetrack. You go the manager of what's called GWG Group, which is a collective of computer-assisted wagering players. So there's some sort of collective of syndicates. Says we wager lots of money, and on the other end of the spectrum is the general public. He estimates there are 4 very large syndicates active in the US and perhaps a half a dozen in a tier below them. The larger ones are sophisticated operations like a stock trading team. There's a proper business structure. You have your modelling side, your business side, you have your R&D side. A lot of money is spent. He was quick to defend their role in the sport. All we're doing is balancing out the pool to make it more efficient. It's not unlike flash trading in the stock markets or the crypto markets. I don't know what flash trading is. Do you know what flash trading is, Gord?
No.
This moneyed invasion into the sport of kings has goaded some people to devote...
It was funny how Mike didn't ask me. That was really... Yeah, flash trains when you...
Has it got to do with the...
You place your trade and you got your gown on, you go, woo!
This moneyed invasion into the sport of kings has goaded some people to devote their professional lives to investigating its impact. Patrick Cummings runs the Thoroughbred Idea Foundation, a think tank founded in 2018 on the belief that horse racing... You hear the blower there? They're just walking up the street.
Yeah.
It's like we're back in the park. Well, we are.
I can't believe that your actual mic actually picks that up.
Picks the blower up.
It is pretty loud. Anyway, this guy runs the Thoroughbred Idea Foundation, founded in the belief that horse racing was riddled with conflicts of interest and heading in the wrong direction. He says these syndicates bet big because that's what the math dictates. This is Wall Street meeting horse racing. They don't lose, and if you try to reduce their rebates, they will turn to another source for betting. Well, that's true, isn't it? According to his research, in the past 2 decades, adjusting for inflation, total betting on US horse racing from the general public decreased 63%. Betting from the syndicates, meanwhile, increased 150%. Cummings called Gulfstream Park, which is in Florida, Miami, ground zero for the computer groups. Horse racing is not in a position to reject customers, yet we have accepted and embraced these whales with little to no consideration of the damage that they do if left unchecked. It's not a good thing to be losing Joe Q horsepower, and we've lost a lot of them. Detailed horse betting data is hard to come by, but the annual reports of the California Horse Racing Board, which I just showed you, provide a good snapshot. For each track in the state, the total money handled from every registered location is in that graph. These include the track itself, off-track betting facilities, websites, local betting parlours, and the 2 syndicates that are betting directly in. Over the last 15 years in California, members of that elite turf club syndicate have increased their wagering from 3% to 30% of all horse betting dollars. So
imagine if you're taking up 30% of the market, how good you need to go.
Yeah, well, your margin must be...
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Doesn't make any sense, does it? So there's 2 broad strategies employed by the syndicates in the US. One is pure arbitrage, and the other is amassing gobs of data via existing databases and web scraping, and then analysing it to calculate true odds and betting into the pool based on that. Sort of a standard syndicate behaviour, which we've seen a lot of. So the writer then goes on to say, I exchanged messages with a current computer player, one from the modern school who agreed to talk anonymously. He was described to me by an industry insider as a fucking genius guy. He studied applied maths and finance and worked as a hedge fund quant. He learned how to gamble by studying poker bots and reading obscure machine learning papers, and to his credit, by spending time at the racetrack. He said he left Wall Street recently to bet my personal capital full-time, split between horse racing and systematic trading of financial securities. He's not alone. Horse racing and the quantitative puzzles it presents are really seductive for people who like that kind of thing. But it's not marketed that way at all. Currently in racing, it's all about being hip and cool and going to the races in your fancy hat and your suit and making stupid bets. Still, if the general public consistently gets creamed at the track, they'll stop coming to the track. Well, they won't stop coming to the track, they'll just stop betting, and there'll be no tracks. It comes up a lot in our private conversations with racing organisations, horsemen's groups, track operators like, what are you doing about this? There are levers in the industry can pull to rein in the syndicates. Tracks can, and some have, cut off the syndicates' bets a few minutes before the beginning of the race, for example. Others have limited the size of rebates. There's another limit. The syndicates themselves. If they get too big, the sport will be just algorithms betting against algorithms. Everybody realises we've got to have equilibrium here. It's got to be good for everyone to make sure this succeeds in the long run. So, interesting article. If you want to check it out, it's in the financial.
I never get that argument. That argument's stupid to me. Because I'm saying, well, 95% of the amateur money is dumb money. So what the pros are doing is actually making sure that they lose just on a ratio of takeout rather than greater than takeout. Let's say you take 17% out of the pool, okay? The big players will make sure that the horse odds are true. Obviously, with the takeout of 17% being the negative loss. While if the amateurs were just making their own decisions and were left to create the market themselves, there'd be plenty of those that got into really negative situations by taking the wrong price as well as the 17% takeout.
Yeah, so you're saying the market's too efficient, but so where's the cop other than the rebate for the syndicate?
Well, it's only the rebate.
Yeah, so so they're breaking even and getting the rebate.
Even if they're losing 2 or 3%, if the rebate's 6 or 7.
Yeah, but that then begs the question. We've just seen the way those pools have gone, and that syndicate is now surely putting itself in a dangerous situation where there's insufficient mug money in those pools to actually construct that situation.
Yes, but them putting money into the pools isn't what's ruining the totaliser pools. That's the fact that more people are getting involved with sports gambling and fixed odds gambling.
Yeah, and the dumb money's going elsewhere.
Yeah, and then you got a corporate that offers you best of 3 totes or SP. Why the hell would you ever put your money into a totaliser pool?
No.
You never would.
We've let the tab die.
That's what is affecting the turnover or the amount invested in the pool.
Yeah, it's not about restricting the syndicates' behaviour at all.
No.
Let's let the syndicates do whatever they like. Yes, They're going to get the rebate, whatever. But if you kill off the other stuff that goes into the pool, then you've got nothing to use. The
tricky one there is the rebate and how significant that should be. But,
yeah, that's a judgment call, isn't it? I mean, is it okay to say, well, look, high volume customers are entitled to a cheaper price? Businessmen will say, well, look, that's a higher volume customer, they're allowed to get a better price.
Yeah, it's like Woolworths orders 1 million toilet rolls, they're going to get it cheaper than the local bloke who orders 1,000.
Well, the thing about it as well, if you get rid of the rebates, then they won't bet into those pools, which means they won't be liquid, which means Joe Blow, who just wants to have 500, 1,000 on something, is going to massively affect his dividend. So he wants the syndicates involved as well.
Yeah.
Even amateur Joe Blow.
Yeah.
All they use playing cards, and the boys betting on the tab, just, who play cards, they all just take fixed odds, tab fixed odds, tab fixed odds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were basically weaned off the tote, weren't they? So you thought, the dumbos that just bet on the tote. And then the tab came along and said, bet fixed odds, don't bet the tote.
Well, they're about to jump here at Bundaberg and the Dogs here, race 1 here, big meeting, and the Paramutu's at the bottom. They're holding $155, $170 and $243 on the 3 totes. There it is. Number one's paying $7.10. It's 5-4 fixed odds. It's just a myth.
Yeah, it's.
It hardly even seems worthwhile, does it? Like,
odds and evens are still better than that, aren't they?
It's a fucking save the game.
Anyway, so the guy that wrote that article basically went and interviewed, whoever he could find. He's sort of keen racing enthusiast. He said, I went back to the racetrack, that's Gulfstream in Miami, alone the next day. It was raining and a wet track makes handicapping even more difficult. Horse racing is a fickle game at the best of times. It was at this track that Andy Bayer once punched a hole in a wall in anger following an unjust ruling that disqualified the filly that he'd had plenty on. As I stared at the rain pelting puddles in the dirt, I imagined the syndicates in their high-tech trading floors staring at equine Bloomberg terminals, their algorithmic millions flowing into Gulfstream as the horses loaded onto the gate. I sat down at a bar with cheap drinks and a view of the finishing line. I closed the artificial intelligence app that he got off some guy, was testing it, put away my phone and cracked open the Sportsman, the daily racing form. I took careful notes in the margin. I was trying to picture each race, to tell its story, to find the poetry on every page of the program, as my grandfather had taught me. An old man sat down next to me and gave me an enormous grin. You really look like you know what you're doing, he said. I apologised. I'm afraid I have no idea.
He sounds like a full twin to Tim Williams there, the way he wrote that.
Yeah. It's really...
But I digress.
Yeah, but I don't. And I digress here at Bundaberg. Number one, $7.10 into $1.60 with a pari-mutuel. It's all about $700.
Well, gentlemen, Tim writes, he says, let me regale you with tales, stories of woe. Digressing be fucked. This is an apocalyptic set of events. But before I get to that, let's revisit last week's name discussion. I am familiar with Tim Williams, the trot driver from New Zealand, and I can never catch the fucker. It's some sort of Freudian punishment in my search of reflected vanity.
Oh, it's like listening to Shakespeare, this cunt.
At least it's not Glenn with two N's, or Mark with a C. He was not a C, but a fine gentleman. But dear Gordon has lengths on everyone with his 17th century royalty. If it's any consolation, Gord, I have an Uncle Gordon who carries his name very poorly. He likes a drink the way Glenn likes a punt. He's a confirmed bachelor, in apostrophe, and lives in his own filth. Additionally, he is a boilermaker, whatever the fuck that is, and is half in love with Pauline Hanson.
Oh my God, Jesus!
However, there is a shining light though. He will die soon. And yes... And yes, to the Glenster, I did try to register a horse once under the name, but I digress. Just couldn't get it through, so they accepted my second choice, which kinda defines me a little better. Its name, Unlucky Cunt.
You never got an unlucky cunt.
Well,
no. Anyway, I digress.
Footage from last week on the trots driver going out the back of the sulky reminds me of why I don't bet on trots. It was kind of like watching a dog adjusting its back legs to wipe the shit pieces stuck to its own ring piece. Just like the Kavorka. A loathsome sight, but I cannot look away. Hashtag Seinfeld. Whilst on the topic...
Can somebody explain that? What's a Kavorka, Ben?
It's a photo of Kramer. Someone painted Kramer in one of the episodes. In that episode, he was trying to rid himself of what the priest called was the Kavorka. Like, this number was after him, and he said, you carry the Kavorka.
Yeah.
And then there was another part, because, there's about 5 stories. So the picture of the painting of Kramer was quite brilliant. Like, I don't know how they did it, it was quite brilliant. And these people were trying to buy old multis, and they were going, oh, it's deep, it's meaningful. He's a pig, he's a beast, and then they go, but I cannot look away. Haven't you seen that episode, Gordon?
Well, I mean, maybe I have, but I mean, we're talking 30 years ago now, aren't we?
Oh, I still watch him every night. I watch him every night now, late at night when I'm studying, just in the background.
I like
noise when I study. Otherwise,
so do I.
Start talking myself.
Tim goes on saying, whilst on that topic, who can forget Danny Hobby in WA copping a bribe of $5,000 from Laurie Connell to jump off a horse mid-race? What's worse, Connell paid him $1 million to send him around the world so the police couldn't interview him. WA in the 80s, golden times.
I remember that.
The best ever was the Superfecta. God, do you remember the Superfecta?
Yes, I do.
First
Had
six
many a crack
in the
as
last
an
race.
11-year-old.
They had one at the Trots for a massive jackpot decades ago. 7-horse field with a 10s-on favourite. 2 furlongs after they jumped, the favourite's gear breaks and it's out of the race. Tragedy for all bar the single punter that boxed the remaining 6 starters to guarantee success and walk away with the jackpot himself.
Wow.
He went to cash the ticket and had to provide ID and such for such a large sum. Who was he? The trainer of the favourite that broke. I hear they requested adjoining cells in jail.
Talk about making it obvious. Like, come on.
Yeah, there are different times.
Now to my tale of woe. Very timely on the back of Gord's comments from last week about fun and games in North Queensland racing. Well, Sunshine Coast racing is just a little further down the road. Let us turn to race 9 at the Sunshine Coast on Sunday the 23rd of April. Well, as it happens, Degenerate in the chat room has mentioned this, so we might just play the race because I've actually got it pretty much ready to show. There's a protest involved here, obviously. Is it going to play? These racing sites, they don't like staying up. Anyway, it's coming. Eventually. Well, I might just read what Tim says. I've backed the 4. It wins and beats the favourite with third a length back. I've got 50 straight out and am in a state of delirium. Little bit of tightening at the 400 metre mark, but the race caller says nothing about it during or after the race. Bernadette Cooper states, third might want to have a throw at the stumps from a protest perspective, but really, a length is a bit too far and the winner wasn't stopping. In an astonishingly fast time, the protest is upheld, the favourite wins, and mine is now third. My 1,000 collect is in Gonski. Filthy and blowing up, but I don't want to end up with Glenster's heart monitor. Like Gord, move on. I do welcome the panel's opinion on the legitimacy of the protest decision.
Yeah, I'd love to look at it.
I'd love, so would I.
Yeah, so here we go.
We got it keyed up. So it's third gets first, is it? And at the 400.
Yep.
I suspect that the Gold Coast will be easy to pick up because
This is Sunshine Coast, yeah.
Sunshine Coast. Right.
Yep, so...
Light still blinking away.
We've got the thing.
Racing, and Goblin de Quo was away fairly. Zing along.
So, Goblin de Quo is awarded the race. It's in blue colours with a red cap. Looks like it's settling second.
Yep.
Put on the red light, runs third. It's in yellow and green. And Zingalong is
the leader.
It's relegated. It's the leader. Yep. So they're 1, 2, 4 in the run on the inside underneath
Right.
the third horse there.
So we're coming. That's about the 600. Where's this interference? That's the 300. So do we miss it?
No, it was there. It was there. This. Just gets tightened on the fence there. Tightened on the fence there.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. That's the worst decision I've ever seen ever.
It's an automatic dismiss. But
let's-
by the way,
Let's
saying that,
just go back. I'd love to look at that again.
I'd be interested in
You
the
wanna watch
head,
the head on? Yeah, watch
because
the
it
head
looked to me like there was still room on the inside and the horse overreacted. But
You're still seeing the vision here? It's
Yeah. We got this is the head on, isn't it?
Well, this
Yeah,
is
this
this
is
is the
good.
back
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Right.
So
So we're
coming
looking
to the
at
straight.
leader. The guy goes to the outside. Old mate moves out a little bit, and he goes inside him.
no, he
Yeah.
definitely does take his running there.
It takes him again. Oh, okay. and then gets in front of him again. So he's driving him mad.
It is an interesting, like it's definitely dismissed as far as I'm concerned because the margin's too much. But I do think that horse would have won. The horse that
What,
came
the
first.
yellow?
Yeah, I think it would have won. But
if you think it would have won, you'd uphold.
No, I don't. I dismiss because I can't be sure. Can't be sure. Like for me to uphold a protest, it's got to be, beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
It's...
All right, I can see the head-on certainly shows a lot more like there's toing and froing, going left and right behind the horse. I still think the margin's too great to uphold, but
yeah, and
at first I didn't see anything.
But so DGen, he sent me through later that where is it? It's gone here somewhere. He said, funny story. I was on the second horse. And happened to, fun story at my expense. I was on the horse that crossed the line. Sorry, DGen was on the horse that crossed the line third, the one that got the protest upheld in its favour. Ended up second after the protest was upheld. Might qualify as a bad beat.
That's a terrible feeling, huh?
Yeah.
When you because
The other bad thing about it, the horse came down the outside and grabbed third place, and yellow runs fourth. They definitely wouldn't have upheld fourth against first.
Probably not. But I mean, who knows what they do these days?
Who knows what they do? It's a dead set. Yeah.
Anyway, so
I've been watching this Chess World Championship, and it seems dodgy to me, man. And then I was thinking about what the hell was going on. Like Nepo's better than Ding, and but then I was thinking about, don't go looking for the boogeyman. You don't want to get scared like Glenn, for example. But
no good watching chess if you think they're like one going.
Well, the weird thing was like Ding's Chinese and Nepo's Russian. So I was thinking about world affairs and what might affect
geopolitics.
This. Yeah, so obviously at the moment, the only one that's helping out Russia with the, economically with what they've got up to with the sanctions and invading Ukraine is China.
It's China, yeah.
So there might be a bit of pressure from Russia for Nepo to throw the match. Okay, maybe. Yep. And the other one too is the World Chess Ruling Organization. Wouldn't they be stoked with a Chinese winner? You know what I mean? 1.3 billion people. The money that would generate. There's two massive reasons why something strange might have been going on. Or maybe Nepo just choked in some lovely positions and just happened to make bad moves. And at critical moments, Ding seemed to find the best move every fucking time. I don't know.
God's seen the boogeyman, Glenn.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to throw that.
He's backing horses last in the run. He's backing horses off beaten 100 lengths. You might have the virus, good.
Anyway, Tim says, but I fucking digress. The dagger in the heart arrives. I had forgotten I'd taken a quaddie and I get the other three legs up. The other three legs with the fave who won, in inverted commas, in my race. The quaddie paid 1,200. Take the fave out and put my 40-1 chance in as the rightful winner, and I probably take the pool, 44,000. Yeah. Now, off for a Bex and a good lie down. 'Tis a great game.
That's even more devastating, isn't it? Jesus.
Tis a great game.
That's a fucking big earn. Jesus.
He's digressed. Let's move on.
Hi Mark, on today's Rosehill preview and mentioning the breeding of the 2-year-old Demembe and Demebi in race 1, Lonhro out of Remar, I was surprised to hear you say that Lonhro's service fee at the time was 22. That didn't seem quite right. So I checked Darley's website and it has its service fee in 2021 as 66. Whilst 625,000 is a great ROI and a lot for a Lonhro yearling, his yearlings averaged 368k at that sale and 229k across all 2022 sales combined. The damn Remar did run second in the Group 1 Blue Diamond. And thanks for that, Tom, because I made a mistake. And
that's the best thing about the rant, isn't it? Because it's not just about us three doing the rant; it's about all of us. And we have lots of little.
So I'll show you how I made the mistake, which is a trap for young players. So you Google Lonhro service fee 2019, and it's like Google's found you the answer. You know how it comes up with this sort of scenario.
Yeah.
But that table was the stallion sire, not the stallion name. So as you can see, Exosphere is the stallion in question, which is a son of Lonhro, which is 22,000. Lonhro's service fee then was 77,000.
Oh, you've just seen this Lonhro then 22,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, thanks for that, Tom and
Fantastic.
Andrew.
Well, it sounds like there's another blue colours because race 3 at Canterbury on Wednesday is called the Paul Laley at Darley Handicap.
Yeah, he's going to start.
So after that flop on Saturday, that's it, is it?
That's it. Thank goodness.
No more, please.
I know I'm like the backed it.
Ben Cray writes.
Hey, Aaron, how you going, mate?
Ben Cray says, there is some fuckwit imitating me on your platform, I'm told. It is not me. Can you please kick them out? Unbelievable. Thanks, Ben Cray. Yes, it's the real one.
Thanks, Brent. Excellent. No.
Well, we've got to check his bona fides. We need a picture of you holding your license, okay? Because that's what the corps are asking for these days. Hey?
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, they're asking for that, a picture holding your license.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks for that, Ben.
Can you imagine like how mad it's got? And yeah, by the way, guys, if something's in there about a really famous person, it's a bit of a joke. That's all right. But I mean, try and keep things nice and don't imitate.
Yeah, we don't want to ruin that great flagship of the whole company is the chat room, and for someone to go out of their way to ruin it, just ridiculous. I don't know what the angle is there from that young man.
Yeah, what his story is, I know he's just a provocateur in a very
I wonder why
tasteful way. And now that I know who it actually is, it's interesting. Yes.
It's quite. I find it quite upsetting actually, and strange. Don't understand that behaviour. Maybe he just got full of drink one night.
Oh well, that's my explanation. But anyway, he's
Well, no, it's not my explanation. Knowing him, I'd suggest that when he first wakes up in the morning, maybe. Anyway, but hey, see, I asked TQ because TQ's doing all awesome stuff in there and doing the Mounting Yard Mail from like all those tracks around Canberra. She was changing a name all the time.
Yeah.
So interesting things like, philosophers and people from history or whatever. It was quite nice. But the thing is for other people in there that are just looking, if they don't know it's you, you know what I mean? It just becomes a little bit confusing. Yeah. And let's say they want to search the post you've done to see what your Mounting Yard Mail was.
Oh, it does come up, good. It will come up. If you search by the name that you saw that day, it'll come up with your posts from the person who has changed their name, but the same person.
Yeah, but if you leave it as the same name, it just makes it simple for everybody. They get to know who it is, and then, So anyway, so TQ's kept it as TQ, I think, now, which is good. And she's loving life. And I think winning on the punt and bloody doing all... You see she's posting all data and stuff like that in there as well. Like, amazing.
Not only that, she also writes, here's a couple of books of essential reading.
Have a message. I'll tell you what, that wasn't a setup, guys.
Here's a couple of books of essential reading for ranters, given the Glenster's position on obesity and the recent government inquiry into gambling. So I'll show you this. It's just.
I think we do need to get more emails and build our businesses. At the moment, we've got TW and TQ. What a wonderful mind! And what tragedy died. I think he got some sort of aggressive cancer and died not long after that sort of episodes.
Look at the comedians on that show, but they're all great. Like, isn't it Carr who's the host or whatever? He just does some really witty stuff. That other guy. Oh,
that's a cool bloke on that. He's the only cool bloke in the world that's under 40 that wears a cardigan.
He's super cool, that guy, and how dry wit.
Just sits there and goes, no.
But he wears a cardigan. British shows are just so much better.
Got 100 yards on us. You should watch the British Chaser. Yeah, he wears a cardigan every show.
Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah. And even the big tall guy, he's
watched the British, some really good work. British Chaser with I can't remember his name. The host does a lot of work up there, and watch the Australian Chaser with our Larry Edmer. It's like watching. It's like watching best party you've ever seen to someone sitting down with snot in their nose eating cold wheat bix. Like, fair income. It's unbelievable, the difference.
Do you know that show? That show is the comedy version of Numbers and Words, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It's a really good show.
Steve Fletcher, it's his favourite show, Numbers and Word in the world, and like it's pens down no work I think it's on at 5 or 5:30 in the afternoon or whatever, and it's half an hour of numbers and words for Steve Fletcher. So there you go, guys.
Just to relax after a day betting and telephone numbers all day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want to be a big time
and he gets out
numbers and words.
Gets out in the piss 5 nights a week with his entourage having a laugh.
His entourage.
Well, every time he goes anywhere, there's always 5 people with him with laugh.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah, it's a good life.
I couldn't party that much.
It's good.
Oh, no, you'd struggle to drink every day, good.
I can drink every day.
Yeah. He's
so
very
2 out of 3 days. 2 out of 3
very
days.
social, man.
I think I'm going out on Thursday with Mark. We're going to the Bellevue Cottage.
Oh, fucking thanks for the invite, you dickens.
For the degustation.
You never invited me for me to say no.
Last time I gave Gord COVID, didn't I, Gord?
You did last time we were at that restaurant. Was it just me that got it off you? Or
I gave it. I suppose it was a super spreader day. It was, it was Sunday 2 years ago, and so Glenn wants us to look at this particular.
Well, I worry about all the kids getting fat, but also worry about the young women out there getting their head to toe covered in tats, and that's how you're going to look, girls.
What the nursing homes will look like in 2050.
Great.
Oh, that's gold. That is gold.
A good ranter sent me that. A great ranter sent me that photograph, and I just wanted to share it with her. So all of you people out there, and you've got maybe girls in their late teens or early 20s, they say, Dad, I'm going to get a tattoo. I'm just going to get one. Just, I think, as a service announcement, show them this photo. They look good, the girls. Look at the smiles on the thing, especially one on the left for the tattoo on her forehead. Fucking hell. What a pack of old shaggers these three are. Good on them.
Is that photoshopped or is that for real?
That's a true photo.
Oh, it's got to be photoshopped.
God, do you always think everything's suspicious except racing? Everyone thinks racing.
Yeah. I know. I'm seeing it in chairs and everything else.
Yeah, you see it in everything else except racing.
It's my contrary nature. I caught that off Mark as well. So.
That's super contrary, that, for sure. But anyway, great photo showing you young girl, teenagers at school saying, Mum and Dad, I'm going to get tats. Show them that photo.
My thing is like they think they're being like, what is it, like individual or
tats are for bikies. That's it.
I think you're conforming by getting them, not unconforming.
Oh, it's highly prevalent, isn't it? I mean, the incidence of tats in anyone under 40 is insane.
But I don't get any of this bloody jewellery shit for blokes, particularly. Like, bloody hell, why would you? You don't need to wear a watch. You got a mobile phone. It tells the time. What's the job of a watch?
It's a single-purpose device.
Tell the time.
I remember the young hot footballer, hot in ability as a young bloke. He played for Penrith, and now he's gone on to play for Cronulla. He's a fullback, and he played maybe 1 or 2 settlements. The fullback, or he plays in the centres. Sometimes plays half. He was originally at Penrith. I can't remember his name. Anyway, his star was on the rise super big about 6 or 7 years ago. Anyway, they were interviewing him after the game, and he had his shirt off. He was in good nick, and Andrew John said, mate, I can't believe you're the only player in here without tats. And he actually said, I'm trying to stand out from the crowd. That's what he said, which was a good answer.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
But now you go to Cronulla and they had him the other day with his shirt off. He's got the whole wing on his back. I went,
okay, yeah.
Didn't make it. You'd know who I'm talking about. He's a good player. Top player for Cronulla. Now? Yeah, plays for Cronulla now. But he was a Penrith junior. He was like an origin pick as a young bloke. I've got you thinking halfback, centres, mainly fullback.
Like Nico Hines is the gun for Cronulla at the moment.
Yeah, he's the gun now, but this is a good player. And it doesn't matter. Someone will email us in next week.
Oh, yeah, Moylan or something
Moylan.
like that. Yeah, receding hair. Holding on to the little bit of fluff there. Yeah, he was Yeah, he was going to be an absolute gun, and he hasn't really stood up to that.
But he's a good player. He's a $500,000 a year player or whatever.
Yeah.
And he tried to stand there from the crowd with no tats, and now he's covered. It's so funny. It's just people love him.
Peer pressure.
TQ's spotted a couple of mentions of Pollitt in some ancient press. The first one's from a Max Presnell's column. It says, Sydney Racing is fortunate to have David McHugh and a couple of other young lions coming through. Apart from McHugh, Glenn Pollitt and Stuart Davidson continue to draw favourable comment for their betting feats. Not since the days when Dom Byrne kicked off has the outer ring seen so much activity. In recent years, the STC has had a feature bookmaker like Laurie Bricknell from the Gold Coast a few years back, then Mark Reed's Sideshow. The STC this year should spotlight McHugh, Collett and Davidson.
Collett, eh? There you go.
On you, Max.
And he does some track work riding as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, then he goes on in another
Makes an
article.
inside run.
Yeah, he says... Max says, never before has a bookmaker made such a meteoric rise as Glenn Pollitt from Kalara. Only 32, he has been elevated to the rails section by the Sydney Turf Club for next month's Golden Slipper Carnival at Rose Hill. He's had a bookmaker's licence only since last July, but the STC is keen to give the betting ring a lift and has made Pollitt part of the double to do it. Also included in the new deal is David McHugh, 24, of the renowned McHughs, who moves to the rails for the major Rose Hill meeting starting March 26. His father Bruce tagged the bastion of bookmaking boldness, and grandfather Bill jousted with Kerry Packer before they quit. And I'll just shortcut that stuff about David McHugh because we don't need him.
So David McHugh, I thought the famous one was Bruce McHugh.
David's son.
Yeah, David's a son.
24. It's 24.
Yeah.
It's a bit embarrassing listening to all this. Have me in the same breath as both those two boys. David's super successful, Stuart's super successful, and I'm not sure it means something.
Pollitt has been attracting attention.
Bullshit, it's a great article.
With his willingness to handle large amounts at the right odds. Well-heeled punters have been leaving them...
No, it's not. He turns them out. That's the wrong odds.
They've been leaving the members section to bet with the young lions. Pollitt held $230,000 in the outside ring at Randwick a few weeks back. Unlike McHugh, he didn't even have a licence to work at Canterbury yesterday. The STC believes the infusion of youth will pump life into betting over the Slipper Carnival. Last year, the odds-chanting showman Mark Reed was given a rail spot from the interstate ring, and Laurie Bricknell, the Gold Coast betting biggest gun, was imported to keep the locals active. With Pollitt there will be aggression. He's a fearless gambler who admits there's something lacking in the betting ring at present. Call it competitiveness, he said. Thanks, TQ.
Good on you, TQ. Wow. I don't even know who that bloke was.
That's a great article, but Stewie, so Stewie was on the rails with you, Glenn, or?
No, we both started in the outer. He was there before me, and I just got promoted before him a little bit.
Well, he did the doubles for a while, Glenn. He did the doubles for a while.
But it's a bit embarrassing to listen to because he's a great bookie and I'm not. He's a good operator and I'm not, and he's hugely successful and I'm not. So to listen to it's a bit embarrassing. But it was just a moment in time, Gord.
I hate it when you talk in this negative fashion. It always frustrates me that. But
what do you want me to do? How good was I?
Do you want me to sort of whinge about like the failures of bypass or whatever? I got a great life. Yeah.
Okay.
Did I ever play the Premier League or what? No, I didn't. Fuck it. Who cares? I live at Coogee with a girlfriend, a beautiful girlfriend, 20 years younger than me. He makes me breakfast every morning. I swim in the ocean. I have coffee. I laugh with other big-time identities and social influencers. I go to the races.
I'm fresh when I'm in the bar.
I'm fresh when I'm in the bar. My vocation, my passion is what is it?
Betting.
My passion is my occupation.
Yeah.
Jesus. It sounds like
the
greatest life in the world.
I thought, but last month I had an ingrown toenail, so fuck you.
Josh writes, Not sure if this is the right avenue, but I have a question for the RANT. Well, of course it's the right avenue. When previewing a race meeting, generally how long do you spend doing the formal pricing for a race? So who wants to answer first?
I'll go first. I know exactly what I do. Each race I do, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes of what I call the donkey work. That's just little things I'm looking for: rider changes, stable changes, distance preparation, start and third up, just a myriad of things. But I get through that in probably.
Do you have a checklist, or you're just picking them up like?
You know what I'm like? It's like when like I do with Paul Davis stuff. I see trends because I remember them. No, I don't have a checklist.
No. So you're just looking at a horse.
I missed it the other day. Mark, you said something. I missed it. I went, I never saw that. It was the stable change.
Yep.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe I'd missed it. Things like that. So that takes me 15 to 20 minutes per race. So it's a couple of hours per meeting. And then I do the tape of every single runner in the race at the last start, just to remember what PR, why, whatever. And to me, a beautiful thing is when there's like 6 out of a lead up, because I might watch that race twice and I'll watch 3 horses at a time. And that is pretty consuming. That takes about 20 to 25 minutes a race. And then I get all that donkey work done, all the tape done, and then I go to bed. Then I wake up and there's scratchings, and I recheck with the New South Wales maps or different thoughts I got in the maps, and then I put them into brackets. Sometimes you hear me on the show, I got that 5 to 2. That doesn't mean I can't take twos. It means I can't take evens, and I just have little thoughts and theories and ticks and things. And that takes probably another 10 to 15 minutes a race. So it's detailed.
What are you
it's
up
a lot
to
of work.
You're up to
45, 50 minutes a race.
Yep.
But that's only the 2 meetings a week that I go to. That's for Wednesday and for Saturday. I don't do that detail for other days when I bet. More of a bludgeon. You just can't fucking do it. You just
you can't
your feet.
Well, even if you did have the time, it would be two head wrecking. It'd
be 2 head wrecking. I wouldn't be fresh.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to bet today Tari and Wellington, but I'm going to fiddle around. I'm going to look at a few things. I'm going to try and catch a bet in play. Like win 800.
People have got to realise there's more to it than that, Glenn, and that is the fact that you've seen all those horses that are running today before. So yes, you mightn't have taken specific notes on them, but you do have memory of them.
You've got data bank in your head.
Yeah, you do, and that sort of chunking first thoughts thing has more value than people realise. It's not just a random.
But
I
first
like
thoughts
this
are
horse.
awesome. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I do. What about you, Mark?
So, not counting any post race, which is that stuff that's happened in the past, it would take me a good part of an hour from start to finish, and I do it pretty much in one hit. So
that's an hour per race, guys.
Yeah, and that's per hit. Like you just do the whole hour. With the difference with me is I'm chumping them up into 3 lots of 15 to 20. Yeah.
And
only because I get too stale.
Yeah,
I do it the same way you do it, Glenn. I do the data stuff first, or the little circle certain things of interest.
Things you notice.
Yeah. Like pre-entry on Saturday.
Then I do videos.
Pre-entry. I saw Zach Lloyd to Hannah Williams. I'm not backing him.
Yep.
Not because
I wouldn't make that decision.
Yeah,
but
I did.
No, but you that comes under the category of significant jockey change. No,
significant jockey change.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean never a bet for me, Mark. No way. Not one variable. So go and tell us about. I'm interested, Mark. Your process for this hour. On one race.
Okay, so the first thing I do is I do the speed numbers for every horse in the race, and so I've constructed a speed map of some sort.
Where are you getting your speed numbers from?
From the technique that I showed in the masterclass, which is just a little. It's based on the last 3 starts of a horse, and the weighting is obviously highest for the most recent start. It's adjusted for distance and number of starters, but and for class. But yeah, it's just a simple pace number, which then I use to draw.
So you do it the same way that Nigel and Harris, etc., and guys like that do it. You do map first.
Yeah. I don't pay a lot of attention to the map at that stage. I might go back to it, but that's the map. And then I will go through every horse, noting numbers for its last start, second last start, and any start that gives them context like a similar type of race in its past, and I'll also at that time circle any of those things to notice that Glenn was talking about when he first does the form. So I'll go through every horse, and then I will go to the table of runs against each other, just to check on horses having competed against each other. Then I'll transfer those numbers to a spreadsheet, and I'll jiggle the numbers around, come up with a tree, put some prices on that tree, and then form an expected market based on the market that I've put together, and what my experience tells me will be the difference between what I've come up with and what the market is likely to come up with. And that's the end of the race. That takes the guts of an hour. And it could take an hour and a half or 2 hours in a Doncaster or something like that.
Yeah.
And so Thursday nights are a bit intense. Generally, I spread the Wednesday workload across a little bit Tuesday, and then probably I'd rather do most of it on Tuesday, but I don't tend not to get it done. So there'll be a fair chunk of work to be done on Wednesday morning.
Beautiful.
Right. So on that note, of course, Wednesday racing is upon us. Canterbury on Wednesday. Good. You having a guest tomorrow? What's the
I'm about
process?
to. When I get off the show, I'm going to ring Paris, who is. Well, he was in the master. You'll all know him from the masterclass, guys. So he's a really sharp operator, and he is the victor of the 100-unit challenge from the 2 weeks ago. So I'll give him a buzz, and if we can sort out a time where we're both available, I'll film it with him. Other than that, we'll have another guest, and as just already, Canterbury. There's going to be some angles, guys. It will be an important preview.
All right, and we'll see the great and powerful Pollitt, not Collett, on Wednesday morning for a top-up.
Yep.
And obviously...
Hey, hold on. Just one question there. Isn't Snowy the youngest ever bookmaker on the ring? Did I hear that?
Stuart Davidson would have been, because he was under 21.
Stuart Davidson would have been the youngest bookmaker ever licensed.
Because he actually fudged his age in the interview, I think.
Yeah, he was, yep. I'd say Stewie is for sure.
Because that would have been 1990, wouldn't it, Glenn?
Yeah, and he was also like, he's way ahead of his time. I mean, he bookmaked for 20 years.
Yeah, but okay, so
20 to 40.
Youngest ever bookmaker or youngest to be in the ring is what I'm saying.
It was Stewie.
Stewie, for sure?
In the ring, yeah.
Because back then...
I'm sure it was Snowy that told me he was the youngest, so I've just had to check.
So Snowy might have been the youngest on the rails.
Okay, well, Mark's saying definitely not.
No, I didn't say definitely not on the rails.
Okay, yeah.
I went on the rails when I was 31 or 32, but like...
So he would have been there when he was 25 or something like that, wouldn't he?
I'd say he was late 20s, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But I can't think. But then, well, no, maybe David McHugh was the youngest on the rails. David McHugh was the youngest.
24.
He was 24, 25.
Okay.
He went on the rails. Yeah,
so... He was 24, going on 44.
Man, could you imagine that? There's no way I would have the capacity to have done that at 24, 25. I wasn't mature enough by that stage.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of... Well, no, I don't want to... He had a lot of family money behind him, mate, so...
okay.
Yeah, he wasn't a self-made man there.
No.
But that sounds envious and jealous. So I don't want to say that, because he still was there, running a business, taking big bets. I mean, he bet me 50,000 or 1,000 each way, the winner of the Metrop, 1 minute before they jumped.
What? Wow.
Yeah. It raced on the Saturday and got beaten 39 lengths, bet me 50 for one each way, come out on Monday. Up you go.
Herculean Prince.
No.
Glastonbury.
Glastonbury it was.
Herculean Prince was much shorter than that, of course.
Glastonbury. Dave, can I have 1,000 each way? Yeah. You can't win. Thank you. Good man.
And by the way, the 60 Glenn won in that race using that form variable has cost him 180 in the preceding 20 years.
I don't discuss my business score, but I can assure you it wasn't my first bet on the horse.
Very good.
Okay, Mr. Collette.
Yeah, right.
On that note,
see you later. You keep backing them last on the turn, good. See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.
I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do.